Hi Gemini, how are you? Welcome to your September 2017 reading. Thanks so much for being here. Before we begin, I wanted to just do a very brief astrological overview. There's one factor that I'm pointing out in all the signs. The fact that we have all this activity going on in your fellow mutable sign Virgo. And also the fact that you and Virgo share Mercury, but two totally different versions of Mercury, or two different, it's kind of like the difference between Venus with Taurus and Libra, how it just takes on two totally different aspects of the same planet, okay? With all this activity in your fourth house, there's going to be a significant focus on your home and family and the more mundane, practical details of life, which isn't the most Gemini-friendly energy. Gemini and Virgo have a interesting relationship, let's say that, because of the shared planet. And there are often disagreements, and there are often, very different wavelengths in terms of thinking and being on the same page. So when you're kind of being forced into this more, or rather less cerebral, okay, because Gemini, air sign, very cerebral, very intellectual, very quick as well, into this much slower moving, much more demanding energy of Virgo, it's very likely that you could be feeling pinned down, and it could bring out some interesting aspects in your personality as well. Not bad ones, just interesting ones, where you're kind of forced to deal with, I've been kind of using the more wife versus mother aspect, okay? Or like for the men, the bachelor versus the father, I guess you could say it like that, the two different sides of yourself where you are constantly wanting to be this more Venus or whatever, this more independent entity, but there's so much focus on the responsibility and so much focus on the duty. Most signs have had a beautiful reading. I have no reason to doubt that you wouldn't have a beautiful reading as well, but there is that aspect to really just be aware of. We also have a lot of this activity against or opposing Neptune in your 10th house, and Neptune really blurs the lines and makes things a little bit confusing. Some of you may even find yourself in a little bit of a love triangle. If you are in a love triangle, either there could be a love triangle within yourself, or reality wise, in terms of you and your partner and someone else, and you being torn, having a little bit of decision making to go. And the Neptune can make us more idealistic and more of a believer in the fairy tale and the dream, and feel hopeful, but then it's opposing the Virgo practicality. So that there again is kind of that opposing force there. So now is a really good time to really set forth intentions of what you want to do, where you want to go, how you kind of see this month going as much as you can control, and sticking to that plan as much as possible. We did have a card just fall out, Ace of Swords, okay. I'm using a new deck. It's called the Hermetic Tarot deck. It is black and white. Let me put the camera down. I have a really janky setup, guys. Not the best table, marks, whatever. Let's just go with it. Ace of Swords, let's start with this. Again, we've got the olive branch and we have the palm leaf. Peace versus war, right? And smack dab in the middle, somewhere in the middle lies the truth, lies honesty, lies everything the way it actually is, the actuality of the situation. This is a beautiful card for an air sign, right? Because it means your mind is very on point. Your mind is very sharp. It means you have mental power, okay? The thing about this deck is it assigns lords and spirits and things like that. This is the lord of the root of the power of air, okay? So when you say the power of air, power of intellect, power of the mind, the power of everything that you Gemini truly represent. Okay, so it's important to recognize that sharpness of mind, and again, to not let the practical and the day-to-day stuff really bog you down. And we have strength. You may require a great deal of strength, because I'll tell you, as a Virgo, when there's a lot of activity in Gemini, especially, you know, because Mars is always right there with the Sun and Mercury, they're all very close together. So when there's activity in Gemini, I go crazy, and it drives me absolutely insane, because I just want to go, 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 which is so against my natural state. So I think some of you are maybe exhibiting a little bit of that, or you will likely as the planets move in there. And just stay focused. Strength and fortitude, really, they really are your best friends right now, guys. And perseverance. You know, when a Gemini sets its mind to something, it's, you know, it's an unstoppable force. And you have that ability, just so long as you don't lose it. Because when you lose it is when things are going to get a little confusing, and you could really start to get frustrated and bored, even some of you getting bored with the more mundane aspects of life. Okay, King of Wands. Getting the fire, with the fire, King of Wands, Leo, with all the activity with Leo as well. Some of you may be dealing with a fire sign, okay? Actually, I kind of am seeing this more as you, but let's speak to it generically and openly, and then kind of see what else comes out. So, you know, we got this Leo-like energy, which is very forward focused, very much also, you know, wanting to share their light with the world, and someone that can come off a little bit egotistical, but really that ego isn't necessarily, it's not really an ego, it's just their desire, because they feel so like they have so much to give and they want to give it, and they do. So when they do, a lot of focus goes toward them. You know, they can kind of walk around seemingly pompous, but at the same time, they could also be just confident. You know what I mean? They just have this air of confidence and pride. When we have two cards of Leo here. So when we think of the lion, you think of the king of the jungle, right? The lion's pride and being the leader of the pack type of thing. So if you are dealing with someone like that, it's important for you not to get frustrated with them. Now, something may come to light with them as well. Something may come out. There may be some truth revealed. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know whether that's good or bad. At this point, it just is. Okay, Queen of Pentacles. See, what did I just talk about with, you know, the Virgo energy? Queen of Pentacles and the Hierophant. So Queen of Pentacles, again, that more mundane. But this mundane energy really is important for you to harness, because it is the energy through which things come to fruition, through which those goals and ambitions that you have come true. And you can actualize these. That's what earth signs are about. They're about the actualization of your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, right? Earth Pentacles is the result that you get, okay? And so now is a really amazing time, even though it can be annoying for you, but it is an amazing time to accomplish. And if there is something needed, because I am seeing a little bit of, you know, tearing here. And this could even be between you, like your fiery spirit going, wanting to share, wanting to go out and be social. But then here's this Virgo, like totally flat tiring, totally just suppressing everything. And that's, you know, the olive branch and the palm leaf kind of thing. And to really maybe find that middle ground somehow. The Hierophant is truly, you know, the institutions, and there's going to be a lot of focus on your institutions, your families, your jobs, especially your jobs. and any other religious or community organizations in which you're involved in. You being Gemini, ruler of the third house, there is a sense of community there, okay? And just being around, being visible, being seen, sharing your light, your King of Wands light, if this is in fact you. And if not, you know, there's likely going to be a split focus, you know what I mean? Like if you're in a relationship and this is your partner and this is you, you know, they're going to kind of need to be going and doing their own thing, and you're going to kind of need to be going and doing your own thing. And there's going to need to be a more separate togetherness. This is an indication of balance as well. Okay, there is a huge message of balance going on with all the signs this month. So it doesn't surprise me that it's coming out here, balancing your home life and your social work life. And honoring obligations, honoring your institutions, and doing right by those things. Now, you may be dealing with someone who is not doing right by those things, but this is more about you, you know, you and your need to do right and to do what's needed and what's necessary. Some of you may need to be leaving things behind, right, which will require this strength here. You may be required to just hunker down and get things back on track after all the turmoil that we've had with Leo and the eclipses. It was about letting things go and letting chapters close. So this would be the aftermath, the cleaning up after you close that door. It's taking care of those loose ends, you know, and making sure that, you know, if some of you had breakups or whatever, you know, closing out the shared phone plans and the bank accounts, or closing out communications entirely, you know what I mean? And the Four of Swords. See, the fours in tarot represent the most mature of the numbers, okay? It's the most strong, connected with the Emperor in the major arcana. So when you think mature and swords with thoughts, mature thoughts, clarity, not jumping to conclusions, okay? This is much of a slow, perfect for a Virgo month for you guys, where your minds are going to be forced to really slow down. Your minds are really going to be forced to really think things through. And while you have an incredibly quick mind, sometimes it is important for you to analyze things from all angles and not, you know, just regurgitate the situation as you know it, but to really think and delve into that Virgo mercurial deep analysis, full spectrum understanding of something, because there's definitely something that is going to demand understanding, right? Some truth of some kind that's going to require you to be like, okay, this is what it means, and this is how I move forward from here. Sorry, this readings has been kind of all over the place. I know, that's a lot. Gemini's readings for me normally are very, very clear, but I actually did your reading yesterday, or I tried to do your reading, and my mind was just like going a mile a minute, and I couldn't keep up. I'm like, that's such a Gemini thing. Here I am doing the Gemini reading, and I can't even keep up with my own thoughts enough to get the words out of my mouth. So I had to just stop the camera and just like, okay, I need to wait. I need to do a break, because I'm obviously not, you know, formulating these thoughts, but I do want to get it out. But maybe it's because that's how your mind is really going, because it's just like buzzing, 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 buzzing. And it's having a hard time adjusting to this pull into the deep analysis part, the slow moving part of Mercury, where especially because we have got, you know, the Mercury retrograde going on right now. So you are absolutely affected, and Mercury retrograde in your fellow Mercury-ruled sign makes perfect sense. And then the Hermit. See, I see this actually more as a recommendation for you. This has been a theme for a lot of signs for the past few months. Some are still getting it. It's still kind of a continuation of what's been going on. And it requires introspection, and that goes very well hand in hand with the Four of Swords. The objectivity, again, another card of Virgo. You know, a card that's like, slow it down, pull it in, go into your shell. Again, for those of you where this just represents the two sides of you, like your two twins, right? This one is just like going crazy. It's not going to be happy. There's going to be a part of you that is just wanting to explode, but you know from just, you know, your mind, your mental state knows and understands that it just needs to be contained. And it really just needs to just like rein it in just for a short period of time. Like, you can do it. I know you can. And this Hermit is beckoning. It's your time to go into the hole a little bit and to just be quiet for a minute and to allow yourself to process what's been going on. And you see we have the snake here. The snake is a form of expression. That's what the snake represents, is expression. And you, being a highly expressive sign, may need to in some way reevaluate your form of expression, okay? Or those things that need to be expressed, because maybe some of you have been bottling things up a little bit and you have been kind of ignoring some bigger issues. Well, the Ace of Swords indicates that those bigger issues may be kind of coming to a head a little bit. This is not a friendly energy per se. It's neutral, right? Truth is neutral. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about, you know, the intricacies of the complications. You know, it's just, it is what it is. And you're just going to have to deal with it. And it is going to require strength. It is going to require you to be brave and to confront issues. I often see Gemini as being a sign that can very easily just kind of run away from issues unless there's a strong Mars placement in the person's chart, you know, or because it's just like, it just doesn't want to deal with it. It's too messy. It's too complicated. It's not fun. It's not interesting. It's just kind of like perfect Hermes style. Okay, well, I'm just going to leave the aftermath behind me. Obviously, that's a huge overgeneralization, but I think for some of you, you'll kind of know what I mean. And we have the Queen of Wands here. See, and this is what I meant, because when I was doing the reading yesterday, I pulled out the King of Pentacles, and then I pulled out the Empress, and I pulled out the Queen of Cups, which the Queen of Cups representing the Moon, Cancer, okay, and then the Empress representing Venus, Taurus and Libra, and King of Pentacles representing Taurus. So I was like, that's kind of why I was inclined to say that maybe some of you really are in some form of a triangle, a love situation that really is requiring you to almost like, let me just even say, like, to not overreact a little bit. And to really be very clear with your purpose and really clear with your intentions and your path and your goal. Because if some of you, like as an example, a woman married to a man who has an outside affair. Now I know that's not always the case, but normally the majority of the time that's the case, right? The man is the one that goes. So if you're a woman and you find yourself in that situation, this is really a time when you're like, okay, how do I really feel about this? And how do I really want to approach this? What makes the most sense, right? And it's such an anti-Gemini thing. And again, then there's even that two sides of you within you who aren't in a love triangle. It's like, okay, well, I really need to allow this practical side of me to really come out, because there's so much that needs to be taken care of that I can't not take care of it. That's the nature of a Mercury retrograde. It forces us, it really pushes us into this mode or this state of being of true reevaluation and really looking at things again to ensure that things aren't going overlooked. And with it being in all the earth signs this month, there's been a lot of emphasis on focus on money and finance and work. you know? And so it's really about your career and getting yourself on track to set you in gear for next year, okay? There are preparatory moments. They're the universe giving you an opportunity for you to prepare for change, for you to prepare for the next wave of the pendulum swing. So use this time well. Use this time as a Queen of Pentacles per se, and to maybe even kind of put your fire energy, which is coming out as fire right now, at bay. There is an indication of Mars here because she's the representative of Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So we have Mars and the Sun, and Mars is really like the Sun warrior. Like the Sun and Mars work very, very well together. It really is about forging a new path. But she's going to come in and say, okay, Mars, like, again, this is the card of Capricorn, and Capricorn is Saturn, ruled by Saturn. So she's going to kind of come and negate some of that aggression that you're feeling. And she's going to come in and just be like, slow it down. She's going to force you. She may even make it hard for you, this Mars energy, to do something. She's going to make it hard for you. But it's all, you know, Saturn is the great teacher. You know, we think of Capricorn, we think of, you know, this mountain goat that's climbing the mountain, and King of Pentacles, which came out yesterday. So we're getting the King and Queen of Wands and the King and Queen of Pentacles here. So truly a pull and a separation going on. Again, Taurus, which is the slowest of the, I even named the Taurus reading this month. It was like the tortoise wins the race, and this will apply to you as well. The slower moving and the less impulsive you can be, whatever your situation is, romantic or in any area, or even just within yourself, and you kind of hitting ahead and your twins really coming out and kind of feeling like they're working against you a little bit, to just remain calm. And if you're unsure, the recommendation is to not act. Okay, to not act, to not do anything. That's the message of the Hermit. The Hermit does represent action, right? But acting in wisdom. Again, with purpose. This Four of Swords is really going to slow you down as well. You may feel restrained. You really, truly, very likely are going to feel restrained and like caught, which Gemini hates, right? To be caught. And to feel like you don't have room to move. And maybe even fumbling over your words a little bit, because you're still refining that expression. You're refining your form of expression. Writing things down might be a little bit difficult for you. If you're in a creative field, you know, something like writer's block with this Mercury retrograde even. But it's a really good time for you to go back and reevaluate past work, you know. This has been the most difficult reading I've done, and I kind of had a sense that would be just because of the Mercury retrograde. And with Saturn going back direct this week, it's no surprise that we're getting the Capricorn influence coming out, because you are going to, while you're going to start feeling less resistance, she is going to not allow you to really put your Mars and Sun to work. You know what I mean? With Mars and Sun in Virgo. She's, I don't really know how else to say it. I mean, it just is what it is. And again, for those of you who are finding yourself in a love triangle or in a love issue with clashing personalities in your relationship, now is really not the time to make any major decisions about major changes, because I think internally we're still going through this aftermath of the solar eclipse. We're still dealing with a lot of the psychological influence that it has had on us, and like that cleansing of the negativity in our life, and we're still like cleaning up after the party, quote unquote, the party, okay? But yeah, I'll go ahead and leave you guys with that. Hopefully it resonated a little bit for you guys. I really wish you nothing but the best. Hopefully when Libra comes around, you'll feel that that like sense of relief and feeling like, okay, things are kind of back to normal now. But September might just be a little bit of just kind of a boring with some frustrated energy kind of month for you. All right, Gemini, that's it. Thank you so much. Bye.